In one of Paul's letters to the Romans, he says, all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. And I think America's death penalty exemplifies that perhaps more than anything.
Today and historically, race is the greatest predictor of who gets the death penalty in the United States.
It is that last fail-safe for white supremacy that says that ultimately white life must be valued above black life. I think that of all of our institutions in America, the criminal justice system is probably the least impacted by the civil rights movement. In the late 1960s, we were looking at about 300,000 people in our prisons. Now that's grown to over 2 million. And African Americans make up 50% and more of the prison population.
For every 9 people who have been executed in the United States, we've identified one innocent person who has subsequently been exonerated. That's a really horrific error rate. But we persist in the death penalty because we recognize that it's only the poor, it's only the marginalized, it's only people of color that really have to bear that risk. All of these issues flow from our failure to be more honest about the legacy of slavery, the legacy of terrorism, the legacy of lynching, the legacy of Jim Crow. And because we haven't talked honestly about those things, there are these presumptions out there that contribute to the disparities that we are currently seeing in the criminal justice system.
More than 50% of the people on death row in the South were represented by juries of their peers who are composed of all white or all but one white juror. And what that does is it disenfranchises African Americans from both their right and their civic duty to serve on juries, deciding perhaps the greatest power that we give our government, the power to kill.
If we accept the death penalty, we have to accept randomness, arbitrariness, racial bias, and discrimination against the poor. That is part of what you buy when you buy capital punishment in America today.
The religious community in America has enormous potential towards dealing with the impacts of racial bias and the death penalty, and ultimately, we hope, towards repealing the death penalty. You know, it has been 5 or more decades since the mainline churches in America called for repealing the death penalty. And I think now is the time when that call is really being taken into fruition and has grown.
I think in our criminal justice system in particular, we need more hope, we need more compassion, and we need more mercy. And if the faith community is not contributing its voice, its resources, its perspective in support of that, then we're going to have a huge challenge in persuading a broader society to think more deeply, more honestly, and more thoughtfully about these issues.